Welcome back. You're tuned in to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, as promised, let's get straight to Deven Choksey, Managing Director at DRChoksey Finserv, who joins us on the show. Hi, Deven. Good morning. Good to see you, Ben. Deven, I wanted to ask you about some of these quarterly updates that did come about, and they're looking quite good. Whether you look at Titan, Kalyan, Senco. First, let's get your view on Titan, because that's the big name. Your view on it?
Hi, good morning. Both, I think, the domestic operations as well as international operations, the growth that they have reported in third quarter is probably outstanding. Maybe I think in the recent quarters, I think this kind of growth has never been seen. So certainly one can argue that there is a good amount of buying power following the gold price rally, whatever you call it as. But I think there is a good amount of buying which is happening in the economy. That's how I think you can summarize, I think, this particular business. In my viewpoint, I think everything is good at a price. Probably, I think everything is now priced in as far as I think the business is concerned for most of these companies which you mentioned, including Titan. So I guess I think while the business continues to offer promises, but I think the valuations are steep in my viewpoint. From investment perspective, if one is invested, one stays on. If fresh investment, definitely I think better opportunity to wait for.
What about Senco or a Kalyan? I mean, they're outpacing, of course, smaller size, but their growth is higher than that of Titan now for many quarters. Would you look at Senco, Kalyan?
Yeah, both are looking equally interesting, I think, from a growth perspective. But again, I think one would like to look at the valuations for all these companies. I don't think that I think the valuation comfort comes easily. In past also, we have seen that whenever the valuations have ran ahead of the expectations, probably on because of expectations, and I think without I think the substantial business growth, probably I think those valuations have not sustained. So in my viewpoint, today's growth is well priced into these stocks, and as a result of which one would not be very aggressive in venturing into them for buying purpose.
IEX is the other one, Deven. I mean, it was like a crazy move in the last hour as the hearing started. The next hearing is on Friday. Any thoughts at all on this one?
I don't know, Prashant. I think would love to, I think, wait for the complete hearing to get over and then possibly, I think, look at it. Maybe the market has in anticipation given a sharp jump of around 10-11%, I think, yesterday. But would love to, I think, see how exactly the decoupling means and what exactly it can make the difference in the business of the company. No view immediately. I think would wait for some more study on the subject.
So wait on IEX, wait for the verdict on Friday. You don't like gold jewelry companies because they're expensive. So in the quarterly updates that we've had since the beginning of this week, any particular stock that stood out which makes a good investment case to buy?
Well, I continue to like, I think, the consumer lending companies, NBFC companies, which have been expanding their book size in a systematic manner. Discretionary, non-discretionary, both consumption states are showing higher amount of growth. And these lending companies like Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Housing Finance, I think they are probably among those who are actually capturing the larger pie of the market growth. If the market is growing in a single digit or maybe slightly higher double digit, I guess I think they are basically growing about 20% rate of growth. So yes, I think that is something which I would continue to like because of I think the integration of the technology that they have done in form of capturing the newer customers, expanding the loan portfolio books, and processing the loan at the same time at a efficient rate. So all in all, along with the growth, the profits also is being seen and with the lowest amount of the NPS. So we like, I think, these companies from the investment point of view.
Deven, thoughts on Reliance, which of course was down 4.5% by close. So that is one. And Trent was down sharply, right? Down 9% after revenue deceleration continued in the third quarter. Your thoughts?
Particularly Trent, I think the valuation has caused, I think, this kind of injury, I would call it as, because I think the valuations have remained very steep. And we have in past also talked about this subject. I think there is no scope for any kind of error if the valuation remains higher. Business generally don't move as per the analyst expectations always. So from a perspective of looking at the company, nothing wrong with the company. However, I think the correction in the price is largely due to valuations. Reliance, to me, I think appears to be a beneficiary of the entire saga which is going on. Assuming that the Venezuela crude is available at, I think, $8 to $10 discount compared to Brent crude, Reliance's refinery is a capable refinery to process this heavy crude. And that's where probably I think this company should be in a better position going forward. Maybe market reacted on yesterday's news of Russian crude oil import, etc. But that could possibly, I think, once the company has clarified, in my viewpoint, I think that will go out of the way. One will have to look at how exactly they stock the cheaper food, heavier food, which basically gives them the power to generate higher amount of GRMs as well.
I'll say this, right, Deven, and you've tracked Reliance for a long time, much longer than I have. Back in the day, I remember Reliance single-handedly used to be the biggest buyer for Venezuelan crude. It's one of the few very large refineries in the world which can process very heavy sour crude, which is exactly what Venezuela produces. As more oil starts to flow out of Venezuela, I mean, actually, at the margin, it benefits a very large refiner like Reliance, which can handle that kind of crude, not the light sweet crude, which most refineries in the U.S. can. So it'll be interesting to see what this would mean for the company, but it'll take time because, I mean, underinvestment in oil infrastructure in Venezuela, et cetera, all of that we'll have to take note of. What else is on your radar, Deven, in terms of single stocks?
Well, I think we continue to believe that auto and auto ancillary space will offer bigger opportunities from an investment point of view. Ancillaries, I think, which are catering largely and making a good shift towards EV, are the ones who are likely to be the bigger beneficiaries in the coming years as well. So we continue to like, I think, some of the auto ancillaries, the likes of Minda Corp, Minda, those companies which are well positioned, back-ended with the proper R&D, which provides to their customers, I think, the complete system in place. We believe that I think such companies are relatively, I think, better positions to take the advantage. We also like, I think, the metal commodity as a direction, particularly the copper. We believe that I think, given the kind of thrust that we are experiencing and will continue to experience in the data center space, I believe that I think the requirement of the copper, be it the cable as well as I think the other infrastructure which is required to be set up, I believe that I think is going to be the prime requirement. So from commodity perspective, the copper commodity looks relatively, I think, much stable to us. Maybe I think the Reliance which we mentioned, that also remains, I think, a good convincing story because they are creating a complete circular economy. On one side, I think having the solar power converting into the green hydrogen into, I think, used in the different activities like data center as well as in refinery. I believe in that. I think they are going to be structurally bringing down the cost in their operations and in turn can generate significantly large amount of profits through this circular economy operations that they are creating through renewables. So we love, I think, such kind of propositions from investment perspective.
Thank you, Deven, for joining us this Wednesday morning. For